I was excited about AMD's APUs, but now I'm not.
Apple's gonna suckle your wallet so dry it's gonna turn into dust.
And dust off those Samsung phones because they're actually wicked fast. And RDNA 3 fast. Let's get in the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're gonna be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet.
And I'm Kyle.
Breakfast. Oh, this Friday, January 19th, 2024. You got me. That was something. We're going to start off today talking about some new details that we're getting out about AMD's upcoming APUs, which happen to have integrated graphics. I was very excited for them. They were supposed to be like a GTX 1650 inside a little wafer, but the problem comes down to, as it always does, the amount of PCI Express lanes you get. Are you able to run a graphics card on it after the fact easily? And typically the answer is no, but now it's even more confusing because the lower end versions are a different APU than the higher end versions, and now they have completely different setups. So for the lowest end version of the APUs, they're actually going to have the fewest PCI Express lanes. Makes a little bit of sense. It's only going to have two 4.0 lanes for an SSD. So you can't run your SSD at full speed, and then the GPU is only going to have 4 PCI Express 4.0 lanes.
What I'm hearing is this is a great excuse to skimp on your SSD.
Yes. Yes.
You can spend less money.
Which the problem isn't necessarily that, like, okay, if you're buying an APU, are you really trying to buy like the fastest Samsung 980 Pro out there?
Maybe.
No, typically not. But what happens is that if you throw a 970 Evo Plus in there, it's on PCI Express 3.0, but it still only gets 2 lanes. It's not like you get the full speed out of it. You still get half speed even if you decrease the PCI Express generation. So that's going to be a problem. And then additionally, the higher end ones will have the full 4 lanes for their SSD and then only 8 lanes for the graphics card, which is to be expected and kind of what I was hoping for on all of them, but it's a little ruined on the low end.
It feels like it's just one of those things. You got to plan around it.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, like this is...
I don't want it to be that way.
You're compromising in certain areas, but it should hopefully be nicer in certain... I don't know. It's a weird use case.
It is a weird use case, but
they made it complicated.
You know what you don't have to compromise on? Today's video sponsor, Silverstone. I'm excited to talk about today's case that they want us to present to you, the Alta F2, because you know it's always a tough balancing act when you're trying to configure your PC for better cooling at the expense of quietness or lower noise, but then you gotta have it run hotter. You don't want that. Sometimes setting up your GPU to run cooler could lead to higher CPU temperatures too. But what if I told you that there's actually a case that can simultaneously cool your fully loaded GPU and CPU equally well among the best, but also can keep the noise level among the lowest of all PC cases on the market? Well, as tested and verified by Tech Power Up and PC Magazine, the Silverstone Alta F2 absolutely achieves that. It's a superbly engineered chassis that truly lives up to the case cooling king titles that many previous Silverstone cases have garnered over the years, but now better than ever. We have big plans coming up for the Alta F2. We first saw this thing at Computex. It is a sight to behold. The GPU is actually off angle to make sure that all of that cooling that's happening on that GPU is like properly being directed with airflow. Additionally, oh man, we're gonna be building in it. We're gonna be giving it away.
This thing is big with a capital B.
Yeah, but in case you're looking for the king of cooling and king of silent case out there on the market right now, you can check out the Alta F2 at the link in the video description. Big thanks to Silverstone for sponsoring this video. It's always wild to me that they were the first case that I ever built in on this channel, the Silverstone RVZ01 Raven case.
That's a mouthful.
That was, well, it was the mini ITX version, and they were like the progenitors of like really mainstreamifying the mini ITX setup. And then now we have the Alta F2 in the office, and that's the like opposite. It is taking everything to the highest level possible. I'm excited for that. Check out the Alta F2 at the link in the video description and keep your eyes ready for the things that we have planned for that PC. But maybe you might put a super card in there. Probably not, because none of them beat the 4090, which I'll probably end up putting in there. But the 4070 Tisper is now getting its benchmarks coming out, and it shows that it's about roughly between a 4070 Ti and a 4080.
Wow, I didn't expect that.
It's 11% faster in OpenCL than the 4070 Ti and 26% faster in Vulkan. So it's between a 4070 Ti and a regular 4080. That's the 4070 Tisper, my friends.
Felt like You were just talking like I was talking a little bit ago.
Yeah, my bad. It is also allegedly faster than the 7900 XTX. I'm looking forward to taking a look at that card once it finally does drop. And what dropped from the Supreme Court is that they don't want to hear Apple's nonsense with Epic Games.
Oh my. Every time I think this is over.
We talked about it. That happened earlier. So what came out of that was that all of the appeals did not go through to a higher court, so all of the rulings actually stuck through.
The guy from Fortnite? They're bringing him into this.
You gotta tell me.
Appealing.
What did I say? Appealing?
Appeals.
Appeals. Okay, I got it. Because one of the things that was contested was whether or not Apple should have to allow third-party payments on their App Store. And turns out that they actually have to. But, you thought that they were just gonna go quiet into that dark night? No. No, I don't know why I'm bringing Christian Bale into this. But
into what?
Turns out they're gonna charge 27% on every app purchase or in-app purchase that happens on an additional platform, which is a little bit less than the 30% that it is when you do it on this situation. So a lot of people are saying this reeks of greed and avarice, and then Spotify saying that Apple will stop at nothing to profit off developers and users. Spotify saying that they're in direct competition with Apple when it comes to Apple Music, so of course they're gonna complain about it quite a bit. But the App Store guidelines are allowing for purchases to happen outside of the in-app purchase, but it can't be a pop-up. There's specific rules that it has to abide by. It has to be so that the user is actually trying to go to that page. And additionally, they're only going to charge 12% if you're part of the App Store Small Business Program and 27% for all other apps. Now, you might be thinking, how would Apple realistically know that people are making purchases off app?
I feel like they could track the links.
So likely, very often they can do that, but they also address the fact that although developers are contractually obligated to pay the commission, as a practical matter, with hundreds of thousands of developers with apps on the US storefronts for the iOS and iPadOS app stores, collection and enforcement will be exceedingly difficult and in many cases impossible.
So in other words, they're only going to do it to the people who are making a bunch of money.
Yeah, but the ones who can't hide it. And you gotta, Spotify will have to pay that 27%. So they are not saving that much money by going off app.
So Fortnite would definitely fall under that category.
Oh, absolutely. 100%, yes. If you made an app, you could probably squeak away with never reporting your off app income coming from people just trying to purchase pictures of the green M&M that you sell.
That's an app you guys want. Hit me up.
Well, Apple's no stranger to doing things in the worst way possible, especially when they're told they have to stop something, and that's exactly what happened with the new Apple Watches. We've been talking about this. The Apple Watch Ultra 2 and Series 9 got banned because they violate a patent from Massimo with regards to the blood oxygen sensor, and it turned out that they appealed it to say, hey, we're importing ones that don't have that feature anymore. So that's what's happened, but as of yesterday morning, they are now officially on sale again. You can go buy a Series 9, Kyler.
I already have one.
I could get an Ultra 2. So the difference that Apple says in response to trying to figure out what's going on is that they have removed the feature, but it's not quite clear if they've removed the hardware. It's just that it keeps the blood monitoring app. So it has the same app on the new Series 9 and Watch 2, but when you click on it, it says it's no longer available for you. This is like when I bought I forget which Apple Watch it was, in South Africa, and they came out with the new ECG app. I couldn't use it in South Africa because it wasn't certified there. And then when I came back to America, it still wasn't certified, so I still couldn't use it. It was great.
It kind of reminds me of like the low hash rate cards that came out a couple years ago with all the mining nonsense, but like a little more egregious because like the LHR didn't really matter because nobody was mining. And it didn't affect anything.
Well, this affected Apple because they finally lost really big.
Yeah, but no, for this, to me, is I want the sensor. Do I use it? No. I don't use it.
What's your blood oxygen level, Kyler?
Well, maybe I will look. It says...
Let me read your blood.
It says 6.
Huh.
Weird.
You feeling all right?
Who? What? Reece!
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. And hey, deals. Starting off today, we have the lovely Fantex Evolve Shift 2 Mini ITX case available in black for only $39.99 with the included promo code and after a $30 rebate, making it $80 off the total price. Then next up, we have this MSI Optics 24-inch 1080p 100Hz IPS monitor for only $79.99, making $50 off. I know the text in the listing says 75Hz, but according to the listing reviews and MSI's own product page, it is 100Hz. And then we also have this lovely deep cool LT520 240mm AIO CPU liquid cooler for only $89.99, making it $20 off for what I think is one of the best looking coolers available at the moment. And lastly, we have something really cool to look at thanks to our friends and channel sponsors Java with this entry-level beast from Critical Hit Computers. Featuring a Ryzen 5 4500, an RX 6600, 16 gigs of DDR4 3200MHz, and an Asus TUF Gaming A520 Wi-Fi motherboard. An Aries Gaming 550W 80 Plus bronze power supply, all in a deep cool Matrix 40 case. You can pick up this super sleek looking build for only $639, and don't forget you can use code UFD10 for $10 off your first purchase through Java. Thanks to our friends and channel sponsors Java for letting us take a look at this. You can find all these links in the video description down below, but until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett and Kyla for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, you know who they're saying is getting a bad deal? Artists these days, especially when
I feel like you use that transition all the time.
it's the only thing I know how to do when he's not physically here. I know he's going to talk about deals, and I can either say it's a good deal or a bad deal. I'm not a complicated man, all right? It works every time he does deals, which is not very often. But it turns out that the EU wants to do something about artists not getting enough money on streaming platforms, with them introducing some legislation that could potentially make it so that royalty rates would be set in a way that they consider more fair, and also make it so that music streaming platforms allow for better discoverability when it comes to non-mainstream artists, with them saying cultural diversity and ensuring that authors are credited and fairly paid has always been our priority. This is why we ask for rules that ensure algorithms and recommendation tools used by music streaming services are transparent, as well as in their use of AI tools, placing European authors at the center. So this looks like it's going to start changing a few things. Spotify, Apple Music might have to change their compensation structure. Additionally, it might change how the marketing looks, or this might get lost in the EU Parliament and we never know exactly where this where this ended up.
The EU's doing a lot of weird little silly stuff, you know what I mean?
Who wants USB-C on an iPhone? That's what I've been saying. I don't get it. And who wants AMD inside their smartphone? I didn't. Until now. Until now.
Sorry.
The benchmarks are really good. The numbers are coming out of the Samsung Exynos 2400. This bad boy features RDNA 3, and it's shown that it's over double the previous Exynos 2200, and it performs on par with the A17 Pro, at least in the one benchmark that's been shown. So the Exynos 2400, which is not the chip that the US individuals are going to get, we get Qualcomm Snapdragon. This gets 4 other regions, but what it is showing is that there are massive improvements happening on the AMD graphics side of things, specifically with the Eclipse 940 GPU, which is based on RDNA 3, which is what the current AMD cards have. It caught up.
So wait a minute, is this gonna be like an ARM situation where like we're getting Resident Evil for Android, but it's the same version that can run on Windows?
I would love that. That would be great. I mean, that would be the ramification of the horsepower on the GPU.
There's horses in Resident Evil?
Are there? I don't know. That's not a question I can answer. I
played
know
that
about the Doberman in the first movie. And then the lady kicked it in the face. The zombie Doberman. Anyways, yes, this would lead to the fact that you could play more modern gaming titles, but it would be up to those developers like Capcom to partner with Google to put it on Android. But then you also have Capcom doing some really stupid stuff when it comes to their DRMs lately, so who knows?
But what if?
What if you guys go check out our Hot News Gaming channel, where we cover all of the hottest gaming news?
Hey, that's
Click
not where I was
right
going
up there.
with that, but good.
Yeah, you didn't know we do that. We've been trying it out for a little bit, and I think it's working.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
You're fun.
Ooh.
So this is good news coming out about AMD's GPU on the smartphones. One of the reasons this is happening is because of the new technology that they implemented. It's the first fan-out wafer-level packaging, also known as FALP. It's FOWLP. That's the acronym, FALP.
The psychiatrist from The Sopranos?
I haven't seen it, I'm sorry.
There's gonna be some people that like that joke.
Yeah, of course there is. So the Falpi allows for 23% better heat resistance, which increased the multi-core performance of 8%, but one of the biggest problems with the Exynos 2200 was that it got too hot. So they figured it out. They figured out how to make it less hot. You know what else they figured out with the launch of the new Samsung phones? How to upload photos and videos in full resolution to Instagram and Snapchat.
Finally!
Samsung partnered with these companies to make it happen. It has been a plague on Android for years. I remember listening to a podcast with the developers who originally helped create Snapchat, and they were like, "Listen, man, this is so complicated as the why it's not like that." Anyways, in case you're an Android user of social media,
honestly,
better life for you.
As a youngin', I use Snapchat as my main form of communications with some of my friends.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I can't consider an Android is because the camera's so bad on it.
Well, now it's not. You got to get a Galaxy.
Well,
if you guys want to see another
out.
video by Kyler, he did the Z Flip 5 review, which you can check out right up there. Maybe we could get him to do a Galaxy S24 one.
I'll do it.
You let us know in the comments, which we're going to respond to your comments from yesterday's episode. Stradivarius saying, "It really sucks how NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel all resort to deceptive naming just to screw over the uninformed buyer. If only more people would put in the time and effort necessary to prevent them from actually succeeding with it." So boo on the companies, but then you got Key Lime saying, "Thank you, AMD, for making good cards we can actually afford." The dichotomy of YouTube comments. And then we got Katie coming in saying they went from the S10 to S20 to match up with the year. I forgot they skipped it. Several people pointed out why we couldn't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, and it sounds newer than the iPhone 12 in 2020. So S20 in 2020. This makes a whole lot more sense. Thank you. And then we got Blair saying Kyle was popping off this episode. I love this guy.
Was yesterday the one we recorded twice?
No, that was 2 days ago.
Okay.
I was gonna say it's because we recorded twice and you had practice, but no, yesterday was all you.
Okay.
Fresh,
Yeah, I was
hot
just-
dome riffing. It was great.
Oh,
Timothy
yeah.
Duran said, "Love the Pokemon Ranger reference." And Titan said, "Nice reference to the bear, Kyle." Kyler. I like that one. That was a good one. Yes, chef.
Yes, chef.
And then we got Gabriel saying, "Love the Pokemon Ranger reference at 238. For those who don't know, they're DS games where you draw circles around the Pokemon a certain number of times in order to capture them and get their help. Think Pokemon, but no Pokeballs, and they help you once before you have to go find them again and capture them again."
If I remember right, the Rangers had these little like Beyblade things. They would, and then that would be what you were controlling, and you would like that.
Okay.
Like
Oh, what you're trying to... Yeah.
One day I will.
Like the Modest Yahoo song?
Mouse?
Then MIJ Tech says Tissiper rhymes with left shoulder and therefore caused an autonomic response to rub that spot.
Yeah.
You lost my third one.
It's gone.
All right, we'll be gone too. See you on the next episode of Hot News.
Wait.
No, don't massage. Why do you have that here?
See you tomorrow, nerds.
Tomorrow's Saturday.
Oh, see you Monday, nerds. See you, nerds.